Yes, hi everyone. Good morning. Okay, I'll just quickly upload the uh, file which will use for SQL. Before that, you just let me know if you are done with the downloading part. Everyone has SQL in their system. Yes. Do you guys have SQL already installed in your system? Okay, I assume everyone has SQL so that we can go directly to the coding part. I assume everyone has the SQL already installed in your system, right? So let me share that file with you, which is there on your drive. SQL queries. Mm, Require. All right. Before that, let us discuss some theoretical point about DDL and DML statements, and then we'll move further with the coding part, right? I'm just finding that file. SQL. Hmm. Just a minute. Market star schema setup is the one. Only. Yeah, this is what we are looking out for actually. Okay, I'll just share this on your drive. The folder that I've created is day 12, day 12, and today's date, 16th November, right? I'll just share the link as well so that you can quickly download this and we can start with the session. This is your link. See, I've uploaded it on this day 12, 16th November, this folder, right? So everyone download this quickly. Just download this and let me know if you're done with the downloading part. All right. So let us start with the module number two. So I'll just create a uh, new sheet. Let's rename this as module two. And in this module, which is our module number two, the thing that we are going to discuss is the module is database design and introduction to MySQL, right? So in this thing, we are going to create a database, or we are going to create a design, which we already have discussed. Everything related to structure of data warehouse, uh, uh, star schema, OLAP, SCTL, constant. We already have discussed that. Let us move to the database creation now. Let us move to the database creation in the MySQL workbench, right? So in that, we are going to have a discussion on, we are going to have a discussion on introduction to DDL and DML statements. We have DDL statements, DML statements, and modifying columns. And we are going to solve one practice exercise as well, right? So that will be our syllabus. Now in introduction, uh, we'll begin this session with an example that is fairly commonplace in the lives of many. That is hospital visits. Hospital visits. And recall the last time you went to the hospital as a patient. You may have observed that the receptionist asks your details, like the basic details include name, include your age, gender, your address, right? Your phone number, etc. Some additional details could include information on vaccination, medical history, details of details of family illness, and so on. Based on the information that you provide, the receptionist may assign you to a specific doctor, ward, or nurse for the treatment. Now, how are these decisions made in almost real time? Well, this is how it all happens. All the data that you provide, along with the data pertaining to the hospital, is stored in some database, right? And operations are performed on the database to return the relevant results so that the authorities involved can act accordingly, right? But how is all of this done exactly? What are the tools and languages that are involved in the process? In this session, we will walk you through the data retrieval language that is used for RDBMS, that is structured query language. So there are many RDBMS systems available. For instance, we have MySQL, we have Oracle, we have PostgreSQL, we have MS Access, we have SQL Server, we have PostgreSQL. But here, you'll be introduced to the MySQL platform that will used in order to retrieve the required data in MySQL workbench, right? So you'll be introduced to certain SQL commands. SQL is one of the strongest tools for data manipulation, and it is heavily used across all industries. By the end of this session, you should be able to use MySQL database and write basic SQL queries to retrieve relevant information from typical databases. Now, we are going to have introduction to DDL and DML command. Introduction to DDL and DML statements. So in this segment, we'll demonstrate the SQL Workbench commands, tools that are used to create the schema and tables. Uh, so after installing SQL on your machine and learning basic about the SQL basic components and terms associated with SQL, we'll next learn about the entire set of commands that are available in SQL, right? So good, now that we have seen how star schema is going to look like, it is time to get our hands dirty and start writing some code, right? So we are going to be using a language called SQL for doing this particular code. I'm sure all of you understand or you know what SQL is. Just as a quick recap, I'll give you very quick overview of what SQL is all about, right? It stands for structured query language. It stands for structured query language. And so this language is that is understood by all the relational database management system products, including Oracle, MS Access, SQL Server, and PostgreSQL. Right? SQL, I believe it not a relatively simple compared to language like Java, C, Python, or whatever. This strength of SQL comes in the fact that it expresses in the form of short statements. We only have to write down short statements which get executed immediately, right? Unlike your other programming language environments, right, where you write a program, you have to compile them, then you have to run it, and so on. SQL is very simple, so that is why it is referred to as a declarative language, which means you just declare uh, just a minute, declarative language, which means you just declare, make some statements here and there, and then things happen, right? At the very basic level, the SQL has got two components of the language, right? One is called data definition language at the very basic level. One is called data definition language, and another is called DML, that is known as data manipulation language. DML, data manipulation language, right? Now, uh, the other part is known as data manipulation language, which is abbreviated as DML, right? The data design in the relational database, you have to use the vocabulary of the relational data model that also we saw in the relational data model. What do we have? We have tables, we have columns, then we have constraint, right? The DDL is a language to specify what my tables are, what my columns are in my tables are, and what my constraints are. That is why it is called as data definition language, right? So there are only four keywords or four commands that you have to learn, right? One of them is create. Then we have alter. Then we have drop. This considered the core DDL commands for manipulating your schema, right? So you want to create a new table, you have to use a create to create new table, right? Then you want to modify an existing table, you have to use alter, right? To modify existing table. You want to remove an existing table, you have to do drop. Remove an existing table, you will do the drop. So here there is a fourth command which can be used across both DDL and DML, that is known as select. So I'll kind of talk about that comparatively later on. And but at the core of DDL, which has got these three commands called as create, alter, and delete. Sorry, create, alter, and drop. Create, alter, and drop. Right. So we'll quickly uh, take this. right? So what is that I can create? You can create anything in the schema. What do we mean by anything in the schema? I can create tables, I can create views, I can create constraints, and of course, when you say tables, along with that, columns as well. Similarly, I can alter or modify existing tables, existing columns, existing views, existing constraints. Similarly, I can drop tables, views, and constraints using all these three commands together. And it is all it takes manage your database structure, manage your database structure. Now you have done all the hard work and created your database structure. Now comes the time to work with the actual data itself, right? So here now comes the time to work with the actual data itself, right? For the set of commands which work with the data, which is referred to as DML, right? Now here we have insert, we have update, we have insert, we have update, and we have delete. And all these three corresponding commands, which means I want to insert new rows. I want to insert new rows. Then I have to use insert command. If I want to modify existing column, modify existing columns, or modify existing rows, I have to use the update command. And if I want to remove some rows of data from tables, I have to use the delete command. You know, the parallel is similar. Here we have create, alter, drop. Here also you have insert, update, and delete. Insert, update, and delete. Both effectively. Both effectively do the same thing, but one creates on the schema objects like tables and so on. Other one operates on the actual data, right? And of course, especially when you are working with the data, the select is the one which we can use to retrieve data from the database. So here also we have select. So what does it come down to? All SQL boils down to the learning syntax corresponding to 7 commands, right? Even among those 7 commands, DDL is something which is used very rarely. You'll only use this once at very beginning when I'm creating my database, right? So you're going to use these commands only once, and then right after that you can even afford to forget DDL. So I speak right now when it comes to DML. The among the DML most important command is select command for analysis. Because when you're doing analysis, most of the time you are working with the data that was inserted by somebody else, which was modified by somebody else, right? And so as long as you are not the one who is developing the database applications, if you ask me, you can even afford to forget insert, update, and delete command. Of course, you have to answer questions in the interview. So you don't tell me that I ask you to forget and even you have forgotten it. But that is something which we rarely use, right? So you have to remember these commands, but in more practical sense, among all these 7 commands, your best friend for the life is going to be select command. So make sure you practice and you play a lot of attention to the exercises that are being given on the select command in this course. I'll show you about other commands as well. A good familiarity is sufficient for those rest of the commands, and they are simple. They're simple enough as well uh, to select. It can select statement can get a bit dodgy sometimes. So you'll require more practice, but that is the most important of all that you will have to work with, right? So we'll get into working with SQL now. We'll get into the working of SQL now. So what you can do is, everyone, uh, open your MySQL, or I'll just show what you have to do is this is your downloads part. I'll just open this. If you directly open, it will also open because that is as it is a SQL file. But if you're not able to do that, you can share your screen if it is not directly opening, right? Okay. Uh, Okay, all you can anyone can share your screen. I'll help you out how to do that. Anyone can share your screen. Yes, we're sharing the screen. We're sharing the screen. Is it opening for everyone? I assume everyone is good with that. So I'll just uh, start with the this thing. Now here, you have to establish a connection, right? You have to establish a connection. So you go to database and connect to database. Go to database, connect to database, click on OK. Now I already have this database in my system. So what I'm going to do is instead of using it again, I'll just uh, copy this everything. For me, it is already there, but for you guys, it will not be there. So you need to be aware about that. And I'm going to paste it over here, right? As I told, I already have this database. So I'm going to first drop that. Drop database. Drop database. And then I'm going to use, or I'm going to create. So if I just run this, see, in order to run, you can use these two flash buttons. We'll see one by one what it does. The first button, what it does is it will just hover your mouse there and it says execute the selected portion of the script or everything if there is no selection. And this is only one line. Execute the statement under the keyboard cursor. So you can use anything, but I'll use this second button. And what it throws is it throws an error, can't create database. It already exists, right? So that's why I told I already have that. I need to uh, drop that database. So I'm going to drop it, market underscore star underscore schema, and I'll just try to run that. So it is drop. Now I can create because it was already there. And now I can start working on this. So use market star schema, right? Creating a table. This is how you create table. That is not very difficult. See, you write on create table. You write on create table. Right? You write on create table and uh, you write down the table name, that is customer dimension. The column in which we have this table is customer dimension. The table name is customer dimension, CUST dimension. The column that we have is customer ID. The data type is variable character. We'll see that. I'll explain this. What is variable character? Then we have customer name column, right? Then you have city column, city column. Then you have state column, state column. And then you have another column, which is customer segment, right? So in order to create a column, you need to write down column name, followed by its data type. And whether it is not null or null, you can specify that. So customer name is also variable character as it is a string. What is this 2512? I'll explain after 5 minutes. Then city, what is this city? City is a column name, variable character 12. We'll see that. State is variable character 12. Customer segment variable character 12. So all the data type for all the columns are they variable character. Now we have, if the column name is a string, we have two data types. One is character, another is variable character. So what happens is, in character, you can write down character as well, and you can write down 12, right? Here, instead of variable character varchar, I could have written character only for customer ID. But what happens is, suppose customer ID is not 12 digit. Suppose, for an example, let's say customer name variable character is 25. What we are saying is 25 is the maximum width for that particular column which is allowed over there. 25 is the maximum width for that particular column which is allowed over there. And beyond that, you cannot give, first point. Second point, if let's say customer name is just 5 or 10 letters, let's say 10 letters. So remaining 25 minus 10, remaining 15 uh, space or 15 memory that we have is flexible, right? What happens is, if you use variable character, this 15th memory is uh, that we have given is, it is not strictly assigned to 25. So if the name is 10 letters, so it will only take the 10 memory or 10 bytes. You can consider bytes. But if it is variable, if it is not variable character, if it is just a character, if it is just a character, if you write down character 25, even though the name is 10, but the bytes, the memory that it takes is, it will be 25. Even though the name is 10 bytes, the memory it will take is for 20 bytes, right? So that is your variable character. You reduce your memory by using the variable character. If it is not 25, if it is 10 or 15, you will reduce that memory space, right? That is one reason. I'll explain this, I'll elaborate this. Don't worry. What is that data type? Right. Now it is time to put practice what we have been hearing, what we have been reading. So I'm going to take you through the whole session of working with the SQL. As I mentioned previously, SQL has got two major parts, that is data definition language and data manipulation language. First, we'll start with the data definition language, because without the structure for storing the data, you cannot manipulate it, right? So I'll run you through the set of data definition language commands. If you recall the main definition language commands, create, alter, and drop. So I'll be using a combination of those commands to create a sample database, right? Which on which we'll be practicing, and the sample database will be very similar to typical schema, so that we can try out some analytical queries on that particular schema. So if you recall, what is the structure of a star schema, that there is a central fact table, which you have already discussed, linked to one or more dimensions, right? Just a minute, Karthik. I'll come to your doubt. Just a minute. So when it comes to star schema diagram, there is a central fact table, right? What is fact table? The numerical table, and followed by a dimension table, right? This is a star schema. We already have discussed that. Dimensions are nothing but a metadata which explains the fact, right? So before you work with the database, obviously you have to choose your DBMS. In our case, we are going to be working with the MySQL Workbench. It's an open source database management system. Every database management system comes with a lot of tools, client tools, with which you can work with the issue, that is SQL commands, right? Both DDL and DML in our case. So we are going to be using a tool called MySQL Workbench, which is a graphical GUI tool, which will let you navigate to the schema in a visual manner with point. And click within MySQL Workbench, there is a window wherein you can run uh, the SQL commands as well, right? Here. So right now in front of you, we have this SQL Workbench, which you already discussed. We have created some command. that we'll be using. I'll walk you through each of those commands and then we'll explain what is going on so that you can subsequently practice it in your other assignments as well, or other assessments that will be coming along. So you want to have a copy of this particular script of this commands. For your reference, I have given this on your drive as well. So let us begin. Whenever you start working with database, you need to create what is known as schema, right? So we have created a schema. This create schema. Creation mechanism may vary depending upon the DBMS that you are using. Since we are using MySQL, I'm going to be showing you how to create schema or create database in MySQL and calls it using the commands that are available, right? So the first command that you will always use when beginning to work with the brand new database, which does not exist yet, this is your first command, create database. But I prefer to use create database command. So you can create database or create schema as well. You can write on create database, market star schema, that is also allowed, or you can write on create schema. The name of the database which we are using right now is market star schema, market star schema. And all the SQL commands are terminated with a semicolon. So if you are using MySQL Workbench, you have to give semicolon at the end to terminate the statement. If you are using MS SQL, Microsoft, that is not allowed over there. That is flexible. It means it gives you leverage that you should not put semicolon at the end of the statement. But if you are using MySQL Workbench, you should remember that all the SQL commands ends with the semicolon. Whereas within when you are sitting with MySQL Workbench, sometimes no simply highlighting it or executing it will work, but get into habit of putting a semicolon at the end of all the commands. So you can see the create database market star schema will actually create database. Now creating the database alone is not sufficient. So in MySQL, before you can issue commands to the database, to a given database, you have to say this is the database on which my all of my commands should work on, that is accomplished using the keyword called use, right? So use is something which we use before adding something in your database. So we just created market star schema, and the next command that we are going to issue is market star schema. At this time, I also want to put out that this create database and then the database name, that command is typically issued only once in the lifetime of the entire database. It is not as if you will be doing it during every session that you log in, right? So you would have typically designed your database using ER diagrams or whatever. And then once you have finalized your list of tables and constraints and everything, then you will get into this particular mode and then create database exactly once, right? And then what you have to do in every session when you get in this issue, the second command that we should use is market star schema command. You will always have to do before issuing any SQL command in every session, correct? So it is quite understandable. Otherwise, how would MySQL know which database it should execute these commands, right? So we have done use market star schema. We are going to first create the set of dimensions tables, right? I'm going to create firstly dimensions table called shipping mode or customer dimension. Okay, before that, let's do this first. What we'll do is um, we will create a table, right? Or we'll do this simultaneously. I'll just share. I mean, we'll do practically first. How do we create a table and something like that? Just a minute. Give me a moment. Just meanwhile, you can ask your question, Karthik. What is your question?
Yes, Vipul.
Yes, Vipul.
Actually, when
Actually,
I give database, connect database, it is asking for a password.
password, yeah. So at the time of installation, they have asked you one password, no? That is what password is. Generally, it is. I mean, you only have given that password. Just remember, just recall that.
Yeah, okay, Vipul. I'll just recall it and I'll try it.
Just let me know if it is not allowing you.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Okay. I'm just having a look at this SQL. Just a minute. Give me a minute. So do one thing, everyone. You have this schema, so we'll directly use that. Here it is fine. Now, if you want to use comments, which we are doing in Python by using hash, right? By using hash, Python is the comment is created in Python. Here, by using the double hyphen, the comment is created. So the comment that I'm giving is DDL statements. And let us write down this. So first, I'm interested to create a table shipping mode dimension having columns with their respective data types as the following. The first is ship mode, that is variable character 25. The second is vehicle company, that is also variable character, let's say 25. Third column that you are interested to do is toll required in this toll required, and that is having Boolean characters. If it is yes or no, something like that, right? So we'll quickly create one table. Create table. The table name that we are interested to give is shipping mode underscore dimension, and the values that we want to insert is ship underscore mode, right? Ship underscore mode. So it's not model, it is mode. Shipping mode. The the data type is variable character 25, comma, next line, vehicle company, vehicle underscore company, right? Variable character 25, comma. Let us do one thing. This name should be capital. That is also allowed, but I want this as capital. And last column is toll required. That is having Boolean data types. And if you just do this and semicolon, it is created, and we'll run this. So this is how your column is created, right? Now, what I want to do is I want to make uh, ship underscore mode as the primary key in the above table. So I'll write an alter table. Table name is shipping underscore mode underscore dimension. And I want to add constraint, that is primary key and ship underscore mode. Right? This is my primary key. So that is how you can do that. Making shipping mode as the primary key in the above table. If I run this, it is done. Right? And third that I want you guys to do is the DML statements. So in that, uh, I want to use DML statement. For that, I want to insert two rows in the table. which is created above, having the row wise values. The first column is delivery truck. Second is Ashok Leyland. And third is false. Second is regular air, air India, and false. So I want to insert into this shipping mode dimension table, and the values that wanted to insert is this. So the first column in my data is shipping mode, right? So shipping mode is, so these are the values. First column is shipping mode, so delivery truck, right? Second column is your vehicle company. So you'll write on that. What's your vehicle company? It is Ashok Leyland, right? So you're going to write down that Ashok Leyland. And whether toll is required or not, let's say it is false. For an example, it is false, comma. Another entry that I wanted to insert is regular air. The shipping mode is regular air. The company is Air India. And the toll required, again, it is false. So no toll. And values are inserted. So this is how you can create the insert the values. So we have seen how do we alter a table, how do we insert values, how do we create table. So create, alter, and insert is something which we already have discussed, right? Now I think you guys need to do that, to have a practice of this. So what we'll do is I'll give you 5 minutes of time, 5 or 10 minutes of time. I'll just minimize this a little bit. It is connected. Great. Excellent, Karthik. So this is something which you can do, right? Just a minute. This is something which you can practice. Ah. So just create a DDL statement as the command and try this out, everything. Write down this, everyone. Okay, is it done, guys? All right. Darshini, I think you should uninstall this and install it one more time.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before, I mean, for your just practice purpose, you can create online, I mean, use online SQL compiler. That will be helpful. Use any online SQL compiler,
Okay,
right?
sir. Okay.
Okay. All right. So that is what we have as a part of DDL, DML commands. Now we will be using the DML, DML statements, right? So just a minute. Minutes. DML statements. We'll see DML now. Now that we have created tables and tried out one alter table command, let us jump to the other side and work with some data. So if you want to work with the data, which is a set of commands that you're supposed to use, uh, that is DML command, data manipulation language. So the first DML command that I'll show you is inserting the command that you want to use for inserting new data that is achieved using insert command, right? So that insert into that is a new command. So insert into following by name of the table, and you say that values, what are the values that I want to insert. So I can use insert command to insert one rows or any number of rows. So for each row, I specify the values that should be given, that should take within parentheses. So in this particular case, the first row that I'm inserting is called delivery truck, right? I wanted to insert is delivery truck, this, and it should be Ashok Leyland, and it is false, right? Uh, the second row is regular Air India, and false. So these are the two rows. If you want, you can insert only one row. Then all you do is insert, instead of putting comma there, you can just put a semicolon over here. Instead of putting comma, you can use semicolon. So I could have put a semicolon, then I would have inserted only one row. Now I want to draw your attention to a couple of important points when you are using the insert statement in this format. So you'll notice that nowhere I'm specifying what the attribute names are, which means in this particular form of writing the insert statements, the order of specifying the attribute is taken from the order in which table was created. In which table was created. Table, we have ship mode first, vehicle company second, toll required third, right? So if you recall, when we created the table, the order in which we specified the attributes were shipping mode, vehicle company, and toll required, right? So when we are inserting these three values of delivery truck, Ashok Leyland, and false, which means the values will get assigned, which means the values of delivery truck will be assigned to shipping mode, the value of Ashok Leyland will be assigned to vehicle company, and the value of false will be assigned to toll required, right? This is a, this is a very useful format when you are trying to assign values to all the attributes in a given table. And also, you are trying to assign it in the exact order in which it was specified in the table. In practice, I don't recommend that we follow this mechanism because it will expect you to go and check the order in which the original table was created, which is not a very good thing, right? So I would suggest that you use the second form of the insert statement. Here, what you can say is you can explicitly state insert into shipping mode dimensions, which is the file of the table, file name of the table. And uh, then within the parentheses, you can specify the attributes whose values you are supplying as part of this insert statement. So there is a second way of adding values in this table. We'll see that. We'll see that. So second way is, yeah, you just need to write down insert into, right? And you need to write down the table name shipping mode underscore dimension ship underscore mode comma vehicle underscore company comma toll underscore required values are delivery truck comma Ashok Leyland comma false, right? Then you can give comma and you can specify the another value, another entry, the regular truck, a regular air, and it should be Air India. It should be false, right? And if you do this, it will be added. Yes or no? If I just run this, it will add values to that. So this is your second way. Okay, ship mode is in the just a minute. Ship mode spelling is wrong, I think. No, ship mode. The table the column name is ship underscore mode. Yeah. Now if I run this, okay, duplicate entries. It means we already have created this, no, delivery truck and that. So it should be not duplicate. Because at the time of specifying the constraint, if you just see the table ship mode is your primary key. And what is your constraint? What are the constraint that we have for primary key? It should be unique and it should be not null, right? So primary key should be unique. That is shipping mode should be unique. So delivery truck can only be added in one time. So that is why you're getting the error over there. Now can you see we are successfully able to add that. So primary key cannot have duplicate elements, which we already have discussed in our last session. Yes or no?
Yes, Vipul.
Right? So this is second way. If you want to try, you can write down this. If you want to write down, you can write this down. And let me know if it is done so that we can go to the next part. Okay, is it done, guys? This part? Yes. Yes, is it done? So this form of insert statement will give you a flexibility in two ways. One is you can change the order in which the values are specified in your insert command, right? So instead of shipping mode, vehicle company, and toll required, if you want to specify toll required as the first attribute, I could have changed the order, right? Here's the second aspect of it. That is, many times what will happen is table might be having say 10 to 15 attributes. Among those 10 to 15 attributes, I might be having data only for 3 or 4 attributes, right? Out of this 10 to 15 attributes, I might have data for only 3 to 4 attributes. Uh, so in that situation as well, what I can do is I can specify that I want to insert in this particular table only for those 20 attribute and specify only those two values, right? Then the database system, what it will do is it will automatically assign null values to the remaining columns, right? It will assign null values for all those attributes which are not specified in the insert statement. So as you can clearly see here in this format, I have the table name in the parenthesis. I'll specify the names of attributes whose values I'm going to insert and then followed by a keyword called values and in parenthesis. Now you can specify the values as I mentioned in the order in which you specify the values in this form should correspond to the order in which you have specified the attributes here, right? As part of your insert command itself. So as I said, this is preferred mode of writing code. This is preferred mode of writing code, which will insert data because this is not dependent upon the order in which the original table was created. And nor does it require that you have to specify the values for all the attributes that are there in the table, right? So this is the insert command. You should remember this. You remember we said there are 4 DML commands. So we have already tried the insert command. Let us quickly work on 2 other commands, which is update and the delete commands. Then will be left with only select commands that we are going to spend a whole lot of time understanding the select command. As I mentioned, the insert, update, and delete commands are fairly simple, but it won't take you time for for you to get used to it, right? So we have seen insert. Now we'll see update and we'll see delete, right? So update command is used mainly to modify data, right? If you recall, I want to modify the schema command to use is the alter, but if I want to modify the data, I have to use update, right? The syntax for update is the syntax for update command is just a minute. So we should write down just below to this by specifying above entry has an error, suppose as land vehicles do require toll, isn't it? Tolls to be paid. So we need to update the toll to yes. We'll write an update shipping mode underscore dimension. We'll set toll required is equals to true, and where ship underscore mode is equals to delivery truck. Do this and where spelling is wrong. right? Where ship mode is delivery truck. I think delivery truck spelling is also wrong. Delivery truck, right? So if I do this, it will update that. So the syntax is table market star schema shipping mode dimension does not exist. The spelling is shipping mode dimension. I think now it is correct. Ah. So if you see the syntax for update is we have update, we have set, and we have where command. Update, set, and where. Right? Update, set, and where. So that is what we have. Now do this, everyone. This one. And last but not the least, we'll make a use of delete command. Delete the entry for Air India. So what I'll do is I'll write down delete from shipping mode dimension where vehicle underscore company is equals to Air India. Delete from which table? Where vehicle companies shipping mode dimension. Vehicle company spelling, is it correct? C is capital. C is capital. All right. So if I do this, I think error is this. Air India spelling is capital. No dimensions spelling is right. Okay, alter is now it is done, right? So delete from where? Now you can add another column, but we'll see that after some after adding and deleting columns, we'll see this. But before that, you can try this out. So this to update and delete, you need to write down. Yes, is it done, guys? Yes, is it done, everyone? Is this thing done or not? Okay, all right. So now we'll see how do we add and delete columns, right? So what I want to do is I want to add another column named vehicle number, and its data type to the created table. So I'll do alter table because I want to add a column in shipping mode underscore dimension, and I'll add vehicle number. So let us add V as capital vehicle underscore number, variable character 20, and I'll update its value to MH05 R1234. So I'll update shipping mode dimension, set vehicle. Okay, vehicle V is capital, right? Vehicle number, vehicle underscore number is equals to, let's say, MH05 and R1234, right? This is your vehicle number and semicolon. So if I run this, the table is altered. And if you want to see the records in this table, you write and select star from shipping underscore mode underscore dimension. What does it give is the star, select star from shipping mode dimension. It will give you a record. Basically, star is for all the records. Select star from the table name. So star you'll get all the column names in this table, right? All the column names. Now it is updated. Vehicle number is updated. If you see, we have vehicle number. Earlier it was not there. And then we are updating its value. So update shipping mode dimension, DIMEN, and set vehicle name to this. Now if I run this, select star from shipping mode dimension, I can see I have added these two values, right? Update its value to this, right? So for all the records, the vehicle number is updated, right? For all the record, the vehicle number is updated. And then you want to delete, then you want to suppose delete the created column. We'll write an alter table. Which table? Table name shipping underscore mode underscore dimension. And you are going to drop column, that is vehicle underscore number, this. So if I just run this, I'm going to get this. And if I just see key select star from shipping dimension, so I don't have vehicle number. It was there earlier over here, right? So that is how you create, update, and delete. That is how it is. Alter, update, and delete. So this is also an important one. So you should try this out. You should try this one, and this one. And let me know if it is done. Okay, you can do it afterwards. We'll see the next part now. DML is done now. DML is done. The next is modifying columns, right? How do you modify the columns? So earlier I showed you the DDL command, use some DDL commands. We saw the create table command. We also saw the alter table commands to add a new constraint. Let us look at how to use alter table to add a new column, right? The command, which is fairly straightforward. So you say alter table and then the name of the table that you want to alter. And within that table, what is it that you want to do. So if you want to add a new column, you simply say add the name of the attribute that you want to add and the data type for that particular attribute. It is as simple as that. So you can say alter table, name of the table, and then add and then the attribute name along with the data type. You can see the name of the attribute or the column with the data type is mentioned in a very similar to the way you would mention in a create table statement. And there's nothing very new with that. The point that I meant I want to make here is we can mix up DDL commands and DML commands, at least as far as the demonstration is concerned. In general, what will happen is all the DDL commands, all the DDL commands, all the DDL commands are stored separately in a given script. Generally, you would not be messing around with your database structure frequently, right? So that is put away separately, and then the DML commands are the ones that are frequently used on an ongoing basis. So don't be confused with with my way of showing you how we have mixed up DDL commands and DML commands. Normally you would not do that. You wouldn't have to do that, but the way you are doing it in this way is mainly for you to make sure that is available for your practice. When I'm adding a new attribute to an existing table, and if the table is already having few rows in it, when I'm adding a new attribute to the very that particular attribute is going to have null values, which we already have seen, right? For this vehicle number. So if I just run this, if I just run this, and if I just say, key, this is what I have. Okay, let's start from dimension. So when we want to modify the dimension table by adding new columns, then what is going to do is that it's going to assign null values. So you can selectively go and modify those values later on. So let us try one more alter table variation. One more alter table variation is when you want to drop a column, when you want to remove an existing column, how do you go about doing it? So the syntax for that is to assign is again very pretty straightforward. Alter table, the name of the table that you want to drop, alter table, name of the table, that you want to drop. Okay, let us do this now. Let us drop some. Let us drop this table which we have. We have two questions over here. Very simple questions. Two questions, but very important question. So let me add that two questions. Changing column names and data types. Right? Changing column names and data types. Let me add a boundary to this so that this you can consider this as a new topic. And first question for this is I need to change the column name. I need to change the column name. That is toll required to toll amount, and also I need to change its data type to integer. So I'll write an alter table shipping underscore mode underscore dimension, and I'll change toll required spelling. I think this is correct to new name, that is toll amount, suppose. Right? What we are doing is changing toll required column name to toll amount. And the data type is integer, right? Because toll required data type was, what was the data type for toll required? Yes, we'll explain this. We'll answer this.
Boolean.
Very good. It was Boolean, right? Now we are changing, we want this to toll amount, so we are converting that to integer, right? So if I just run this, just see what will happen. Vehicle number. Okay. Alter table shipping mode dimension. Just a minute. Just a minute. I'll add this. I'll update this, and I'll drop this. Now I want to add this. Can't drop vehicle number. Okay, let us check select star from shipping underscore mode dimension. This. Let us see all the records from this table. So we have vehicle company, toll required, change toll required, toll amount, integer. Why is it not giving us the answer then? Now it is okay. Okay. So now if you see earlier the name for that column, earlier name for that particular column was toll required, right? Now it is toll amount, right? This is how you change the data type. Very important one. Second is the company decides that this additional table won't be useful for our data analysis. Won't be useful. So we are interested to remove it. How do you remove table? You simply write on drop table, shipping underscore mode, underscore dimension. That's all. Done. So you drop table, shipping underscore mode, underscore dimension, non-toll required. If I just take this, and so it is not there. If you just check select star from shipping underscore mode underscore dimension, the table does not exist because we have dropped that, right? So drop table will drop the table. Basically, table will not exist. Delete table will just delete all the values, but table will be there. That is the difference. Drop will simply drop the table. Delete will simply just delete the values. That's all. Right? I think we are good to go with the next part. Before that, if you want to try this out, you can try and let me know if it is done. Do this now, everyone. Do this. Okay, is it done, everyone? Is it done, guys? Okay, so now we'll start with the very important part, which is querying in SQL, right? So I'll just take this out and write down over here, querying in SQL, querying in SQL. Wait, suppose. Querying in SQL, right? So introduction is, in the previous segment, you learned uh, what databases are, what they are composed of, and how do we create database along with its table, constant and values. In this session, we'll dive into the core of SQL and you'll learn all about the statements that are used for querying data. You'll also develop the thought process that is required to extract data needed for analysis and to drive business decisions, right? So you'll learn how do we write queries using select, from, where, group by, having, and order by. And then last is limit. So this is your sequence. You should remember this. You should learn this directly. You should by heart this. So a query may generally contain all or some of these keywords. You will also get an understanding of you'll also get an understanding of the need for the various types of operators and functions, which make it easy to address seemingly complex data requirements. Eventually, we'll talk about subqueries in this module. Subqueries. We'll talk about CTEs, that is common table expression, very important part, and views, which will help with solving even more complex problem statements, right? Uh, all right. So SQL statements and operators. We'll just try to see this. SQL statements and operators. Querying in SQL, statements and operators. So it is now time to get into the beautiful word of select statement, which we have discussed. We are going to, from now onwards, we are going to have a discussion on this for straight 3 to 4 hours. So it is now time to get this into this world of select statements, because that is one of the most important element of SQL, and where familiarity with the select statement will be tested at multiple points during your professional career. So you better be very comfortable with that. But I'll kind of take you through multiple stages with increasing amount of complexity. I do want to mention that select statements can be deceptively easy as long as it is being written by somebody else, right? Because by design, the select statements are intended to look like English. And so when I demonstrated with the examples, it does look, it may look very straightforward, but I just want to reiterate that you'll have to practice it with your own imaginary questions so that you're comfortable with the nuances of the syntax that are associated with it, right? So having said that, I think this is the best way to learn is to see how it is to be done, and then you do your own practice, right? So as and when I keep demonstrating, you should be having your own MySQL workbench window in front of you, and then keep trying it. And once I have demonstrated it, one particular query, you may want to pause it for a moment, and then you try your own variations of the same query. So that is the background. So let me get started. So what I'll do is, to begin with, I'll give you the broad overview of the select clause. So the select clause has got multiple elements within it. So you say select from select from where, group by, having, order by, and limit. So select statement, so these are the elements that are part of select statement. So eventually, once you have mastered, we'll take it step by step, not to worry about it. So let us begin with a simple single table query, so which is nothing but select star from given dimension table. So select is a command. We write select star from table name, right? Table name. So select is a command followed by the attributes that you and to retrieve from that particular table. So when you specify star is going to display all the attributes, so you can see that it is displaying customer ID, customer name, city, state, and customer segment. All the attributes are displayed and followed by keyword called from specifies from which table do you want to display these values. At this time we are going to be working and retrieving data only from a single table. So that is why you'll find that there is only one table name. As always, SQL command should be terminated with a semicolon. So I put a semicolon and then have executed that particular command. Let us look at the next variation. Suppose I am not interested in all the attributes of this particular table. I want only some attributes. So for that, you can use the second variation wherein I'm saying I want to display only the customer name from the customer dimension table. So as you can see previously, it was showing in all the 4 or 5 attributes. Now it is showing only one attributes. Simple enough, right? So this is time. If you want, you can try. Okay, let me just do this. What we are trying to understand is the select clause. Is the select clause. Okay, what we'll do now is we'll execute this table, create this table. So one, okay, you the non-market star schema shipping mode dimension. I'll just execute this. I'll execute this. Then I'm going to execute this. I'm going to execute the another table, this one, right? This one. Then let us execute this table. You'll get some warnings. Don't worry about that warnings. Then you'll execute this table, insert into this, then insert into this, right? And then we'll insert all the values over here, this one, right? Do this now, everyone. In your in your query, do this, and then we'll see basic SQL queries. So first question is, I want to print the entire data of all the customers. I want to print entire data of all the customers. So how we'll write down? Select star from customer underscore dimension table. You'll get entire data from all the customers out there, right? So this is your entire data from the customer table, isn't it? Simple. Second question now. Let me know if you are getting some error in executing that sale, so I can help you out with that. If you don't have any error, we'll just solve these questions. So list the names of all the customers. Yes, can I get quick confirmation that you guys are not getting any error? Can I get it? Can I get a quick confirmation about this? Successfully done this part? Yes, everyone. Avantika is done. What about other guys? Abdul, Arvind, Arun, Binu, Darshini, Gopi, Janani, Kannan, Karthik, Madhu. Yes. Are we good to go with the next part? Okay. So basic SQL queries. Print. I can see a few responses. Based on that, I'm moving further with the next part. Print the entire data of all the customers, selecting star from customer dimension. Now you want to list the names of all the customers, right? Only names. So you'll select which one? This customer name. You'll write on customer underscore name. Make sure the column name is correct. It is in the same fashion which is present as it is present in the table. And you'll write on customer underscore dimension and do this. So select customer name from customer dimension. If I run this, I'm going to get all the customer name in this, right? Third, I want to print the name of all customers, along with their city and state, So in this table, customer dimension, I want this. How can I go with this thing? This question. Print the name of all the customers along with the city and state. How can I proceed further with this? Yes, guys. What should I write? What should I write? Okay.
We
Use the
should write customer name, city, select customer name, city, state from customer table, sir. Cust diamond.
Select customer name, city, and
State
state
from
from customer. Very good. Excellent. Select spelling is wrong. So let me correct that. I think all is good. So we're getting customer name, city, and state. Excellent. Now next, fourth question. Print the total number of customers. How do we print total number of customers? I'll write on select count star as total underscore customers from cust underscore dimension table. Select count as total customer from cust underscore dimension table. Right. So count star aggregate function, right? Till this time, we are just we have just seen the operator. Now count star, we'll talk about this. Now let us keep checking along. I briefly talk about aggregate functions already. Aggregate functions are those functions which will accumulate the values and display those results, right? The accumulation can be done using many different aggregate functions. And one aggregate function which we already saw is the count aggregate function, count. C-O-U and count. Let us try out some few other variations of count. So here I want to find out the total number of sales. You can clearly see that I'm kind of going into market factful table. I'll just do that, this one. Market factful is something which will not do in today's session. That is comes under operator after operator. Okay. Not an issue. What we are doing is we are finding all the count, right? Count star will count all and as total underscore customer. So what is this? Is we are using count function. It will count all the customers, right? It will count all customers. Basically, rows it will count, right? In this table, this customer dimension table, how many rows are there? We want to count that. So count star will count all, and it will rename this column as total customer. This as is known as alias. Alias. As is known as alias. So for example, if I don't give this alias, what will happen? Nothing will happen. Just you will not be having uh, uh, the name of that particular column. That is count star, right? The name of this column, I want this name has to be as this one. Uh, which one? Total underscore customers. Name has to be total underscore customers. So name it will appear now. Just see the name, it will appear as total underscore customers, right? So that is known as alias. Is it clear now? What is alias? Is it clear for everyone? What is alias? Yes, guys.
Yes, Vipul.
And count is your aggregate function. We are going to extensively discuss this count or other aggregate functions in our aggregate functions part, right? After this, we are going to discuss operators. That will be done in tomorrow's session, statement and operators. And then we'll discuss aggregate functions. Then we'll discuss aggregate functions, right? So how many customers are from West Bengal? We'll write on select, count, star. Okay, I'm waiting for your answer. What should I write? Very simple, very simple.
Where
Select.
state is equal to West Bengal.
Okay, but from we need to write down table name, no? Customer dimension table. Where we should use yes or no? State is equals to West Bengal. Make sure the spelling is correct, right? And I want to rename this column as Bengal customer, for an example. So I'll just copy this and I'm going to run. So Bengal customers, how many are there? 4040. 4040 Bengal customers. So how many customers are from West Bengal? 40 customers are from West Bengal. Now sixth, I want to print the names of all customers who belong to West Bengal. I'll select customer underscore name, comma state from customer underscore dimension, where state is equals to West Bengal. Selecting customer name, state from customer dimension, where state is equals to Bengal. So these are the names of all customers who belongs to this particular region, that is West Bengal, right? So try this out, these questions. Okay, is it done, guys? Is it done or not? All right, let us see now operators, and then we'll stop here for the day. Just 5 minutes or 10 minutes of discussion, and we can stop here for the day. Let us have a partition over here. Operators. So first question in operators is, I need to print the names of all customers who are either corporate or belong to Mumbai. Print the names of all the customers who are either corporate or belongs to Mumbai. Now, how can you do this? Is you'll write and select customer underscore name, customer underscore name, that is city, customer underscore segment from customer underscore dimension, where city is equals to Mumbai, or customer underscore segment is equals to corporate. Corporate. Where city is equals to Mumbai or customer segment is equals to corporate. So if you do this, if you run this, customer segment spelling, I think it is wrong. Customer segment is wrong. S is capital segment. Just give me a moment, guys. Important call. So this is what we have, right? If I just run this, unknown name customer segment. Here spelling is wrong. That's what. So make sure your spelling is correct everywhere, right? So we are selecting customer name, city, customer segment. Where city is equals to Mumbai or customer segment is equals to corporate. So here I'm introducing OR operator, OR, and you guys are well familiar with this OR. What do you mean by OR? Is it simply means either it is Mumbai, this should be true, or this should be true. If both are not true, only one is true, then that is also sufficient for me, right? So that is your OR operator. Same thing we can have for AND, but for that question will be different. Question will be print the names of all corporate customers from Mumbai. For that, I need to select customer underscore name, customer underscore name, comma city, comma customer underscore segment from cust underscore dimension, where city is equals to Mumbai. Instead of or, I should use and. That's what, right? Instead of and, I should use or, and customer underscore segment is equals to corporate. Corporate, right? So if I just run this, I'll get customer name, city, and customer segment. But just observe, both the conditions should be satisfied, right? Both the condition should be satisfied. This one, right? So I'm only getting customer from city Mumbai belongs to corporate. So that is your and for you. Everybody knows this very well. What is and, right? Is it clear now? This question, is this thing clear for you?
Yes, Vipul.
Right? Now, now, next important question. Last question for today. List the details. List the details of all the customers. List the details of all the customers from southern part of India. And you very well know what are this. Oh, what are the different states that we have for southern part? One is Karnataka, then Telangana, Tamil Nadu, and Kerala. Right. So what I'll do is I'll write on select star from cust underscore dimension where customer segment spelling is C capital, segment S is capital, customer underscore segment. Uh, Sorry, not customer segment. Why I'm writing down customer segment? My bad. Where state, right? State in, and then you pass on the name of the states that you want. So basically, if you just select star from customer underscore dimension entire table, if you select this, so you are going to get all the records, right? But in that I only want state. It should be, it has to be Tamil Nadu. So in our data, N is capital for Tamil Nadu, then Karnataka, then Telangana, and then you have Kerala, right? And this is what it is. So selecting star from customer dimension where state in Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Telangana, and Kerala. So it is basically or. So you're getting customer from all the state. This includes Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, and Kerala, right? So if I just scroll down, then you'll understand. You'll get to see that. See, can you see Telangana here, Kerala, then Tamil Nadu, right? So all the records from southern part of India. I hope this is clear for you. If you have any questions now, you can ask. Otherwise, we'll just stop here for the day. We'll continue this part in tomorrow's session. So basically, we still have 3 more questions for operators. Then there will be aggregate functions. Then there will be ordering. Then there will be string and datetime functions. For your syllabus, they guys have given very basic part of the syllabus, but I don't want to cover that basic part. I want to cover uh, some advanced part as well in that, right? Let us have a look at the syllabus as well. So for that reason, we might extend 1 or 2 more sessions for SQL. It will require some extra sessions for SQL, but I'll have word with them because I want to take this complete, right? See, they only have mentioned for SQL, they only have mentioned data modeling, normalization, and star schema, asset, transaction, select, insert, update, delete, join operation. We have done this. Only join is remaining. That will take care in the next session. Window function, rank, dense rank, row number, data types variable. This is not done till now. But they have not mentioned the regular expression, date and time function. Uh, they have not mentioned nested queries. Is it there? No. They have not mentioned CTEs, common table expression, views, joins. Joins they have mentioned, but that is something which is important. Having clause is there. It should be there, right? Ordering should be there. then joins. So what I'm trying to say is, even though they have asked us to complete this in 2 session itself, so it is tentatively 5 hours, right? But it is very difficult to cover this in 5 hours, to be honest, right? So tomorrow is Sunday. We still have 2.5 hours. We'll see what can be done. And probably on next Saturday as well, we'll be having this session on SQL, extra session. Means this only, but we'll extend the session. And data visualization in Python is something they wanted to do for us. So this is remaining. This is somewhat we have completed this EDM movie dataset. So this is remaining. The sessions are 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Okay. No problem. We'll have one more extra session for skill. And then machine learning. This one. Okay. Sounds good. Yes. Anybody have any questions till now in SQL? Anybody have any questions in SQL? No questions? Okay. Perfect. Then we'll stop here for the day. Thank you, everyone, and happy learning.
Thank you, Vipul.
Yes, thank you.